Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Raleigh, and we're back with the final of the previews for the Spear. So today we have the Mesmer, the Revenant, and the Elementalist. I'm super hyped about this. I think a lot of people have been very looking forward to specifically the Mesmer. I've seen a lot of people are like, "What are the Mesmers gonna be doing? You know, are they gonna be like just doing weird things with the spear or whatever, right?" So but yeah, anyway, so welcome back, you guys. I today I've been very busy. I've been spending a few hours this morning editing the new video, the next dual class video. And yeah, and here we are. So we're gonna be doing this video, and guys, I just want to preface this before we get into all of that, but I know that lately I've been like talking a lot about like what ArenaNet could be doing better and blah blah blah, all these things. And I know that it sounds kind of, I know there's probably people that are thinking that I'm like super bitchy about it or whatever, but I just want to say that it's coming from a place of like I want this game to do as well as I know it can. Like it has the potential to be super super good, right? And like it is good, but it could be like one of the top games, right? And then the other thing is just that, you know, if I really hated the game, I wouldn't be making videos and have a whole YouTube channel pretty much around. I mean, I do other things on my channel, but pretty much most of my stuff on my channel is about Guild Wars, and I wouldn't be doing that if I wasn't enjoying it. So just so you guys know, I am extremely hyped for this expansion. I probably shouldn't be as hyped based off of what we just came from, but you know, I'm gonna be making videos either way, and I just, for me personally, I think getting new areas and new lore and new characters and new story and whatever things to theorize about, like that is enough for me already, right? I'm very easy to please when it comes to that. So but I hope that you guys are very excited as well. So anyways, let's get into that. I just wanted to kind of say that I'm not gonna sit here and, you know, just do that for 20 minutes, but yeah, let's get into it. So I have the thing pulled up here. So obviously, spear me the details: Mesmer, Revenant, and Elementalist. So I had the video already pulled up. So they start with the video. So let's just watch the video, and we'll just kind of analyze the video a little bit. Again, as always, I have the sound a little bit. I don't have my headphones in, but I have the sound like quiet, so you might hear a little bit of an echo. I'm just trying to listen to some of the music because I'm very excited for Janthir Wild's music. So anyways, let's look. Oh, I'm so excited, guys. All right, let's see who they're starting with. Two-handed spears. All right. I'm trying to get my mouse out of my. Okay. Oh, Revenant. We're starting with Revenant. Okay. Oh no, it's a close range spear. No way. Wait, what is this? Ooh. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna watch through it and then we'll do a review. Okay. Ooh. I love that action shot. That's really cool. Oh, that's really cool. That transition was really nice. I like that. That looked really good. Okay, and then the Mesmer. Okay, so we have a close range as well. Oh. Oh, I like the way that they're... The animation on that is really cool. Huh. Okay, let's go through some of this. First of all, before I get into this, I know we've been having discussions about this a lot, about whether or not the the Revenant should get a long range or a short range, and I cannot believe that I literally I just the other day, and I'm laughing because I really hate that I was right. The other day, I literally, because we were on stream, and Jacob, one of the community members, he said, you know, we need long range for the Revenant, and I agree. You know, I was just like, yes, we need long range. We only have, like, we have hammer, which kind of sucks, right, in PvE. Like, it's maybe okay in World vs. World. Like, I don't even think it's that good in World vs. World. It's just not a really, like, slow slow moving weapons and slow, like, they're not that great in Guild Wars, because Guild Wars is such an active game where you're constantly jumping around, positioning, and like whatever, right? So the hammer just doesn't feel good as a weapon on the Revenant, I want to say. And then on top of that, like the short bow is kind of, it's okay, but it's a like mostly Condi weapon, kind of. I guess you could make a, you could do like a power damage with it, but I really felt like we needed like a really solid other option for long range. We have not gotten one. We the scepter, which I thought was going to be a long range weapon, ended up being a short range weapon, or it's like a mid range weapon, but I would say it's a short range weapon. And before that, we got the great sword, and that is a short range weapon. Like, we've been just like handed short range weapons to the Revenant, and they don't have a lot of options for long range. So it really kind of sucks. I'm really, like, right off the bat, guys, I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm not happy with that. Um, the thing is with that, and like I said, I just want to do that before we get into the actual skills. I've been talking about how I love the trident underwater for Revenant. I love the skills, how they look, the animations of them, and I also like the way that they work, where they do different things based on the legends that you're currently channeling. So like your attacks, for example, if you're in Shiro, in the Shiro legend, inflict vulnerability, and then you can swap over and they will inflict like burning if you're like on Malix, or something like that, or like torment when you're on Malix or something, right? Like, it swaps what they do, and I really love that. I love the animations. So my hope is, okay, and I'm trying to just be optimistic, which is not really, I'm more of a realist, but I'm trying to just take the optimistic, the like high road. But I'm hoping that for the next expansion, we will get tridents, and the Revenant will get a really good long range option. Okay, I'm really hoping. Like, I'm really like, ArenaNet, if you're listening, please, we need we need a Revenant long range option. Please, they're not good, the ones we have right now. Like, they're good, but it's like, I want something else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want a bow. I don't want to use a bow, and a hammer sucks. So that's kind of where I am. Anyways, so let's look at the skills. Beside all of that, let's look at it. So we have the Revenant. And so first of all, they throw a spear into the air that lands immediately on the enemy. I don't know if that's like the auto attack, or like what's going on there. I'm not quite sure, because they did talk about how, like, the auto attacks kind of change based on like, I guess the enemy, or like something like that. There's like a weird mechanic that they're introducing where they change. So I don't know, maybe it's a hybrid weapon. But the thing is, and you will see that we don't see a lot of long range attacks on here, like skills on this. So remember, we only have 5 skills. So they dodge forward into it, but then they're auto attacking close range. Okay, I like the trail that we get. It'll be surprising to see how like a legendary spear will work with this trail. Are we still gonna get this, like, if I'm using my little, I don't know how to pronounce the legendary spear that we have, Kamamahamahama, whatever, right? And I don't mean to be offensive. I just, those words, too much, can't do it. But are we still gonna have a trail? Are we still gonna have this black trail that's gonna be? Do you guys even see my mouse? Oh, I guess it's so bright on that screen. But are we gonna see the trails on it? Like, is it gonna still have that, or is it gonna be something else? Right? Like, that's gonna be, usually when they have like normal trails like that, they still persist. So I feel like that would be very unfitting with that weapon in mind, with that legendary in mind. So we would have to like find something that works for it. But anyways, so you kind of attack, right? And that looks like an auto attack because he does it multiple times. Then there is this is weird. There's like a weird cut. Do you guys see this? So he runs away. There's a skill where you can like run away. Okay. So he runs away, and then all of a sudden he's teleported way over there. There's like a weird cut where we don't see these bubbles form. I guess there's like a moment where these bubbles come out of the ground and form. It's really interesting how they do that little cut. It's like bloop, and then we're over here. But anyways, they're like almost like little traps that you leave behind. They almost look like they don't look, I don't know, they look a little bit different than usual like Revenant magic, they look darker a little bit. So I'm thinking there's clearly slow being inflicted, which is probably the first part of that skill, is like dash forward and inflict slow on an enemy, I'm guessing. Or maybe not. Maybe it's through these. Because when he leaves, there's no slow effect around him. But then, and we're probably gonna read about it in a second. But yeah, so then this thing explodes and pulses slow. So there again, I kind of talked about this a little bit with the warrior. There's a little bit of a purity of purpose issue that I'm having. So if we're having a close range spear with the Revenant, why do we have an attack that lets us run away, or a skill, right, that lets us run away and slow the enemy so they can't get to us fast enough? Because then we have to, like, we run away and we have to turn around and run back because we're attacking. So let's watch a little bit more. So they slowly walk through there. Yeah, so, but then we get a giant field, because it is not a long-range weapon, right? Because then, again, we now appear in melee range, okay? It looks to be like a 600 range, where you swing. I mean, this is really cool. Like, let's get real. This is a really cool animation, where you swing the spear around you, like floating around you, and a fucking field comes on the, sorry that I cursed, but the field comes on the out of the ground, and there's spikes, like magical spikes coming out. That's really cool. Like, I love that. That is really cool. That's something that I'm looking forward to. But it's still it's a close range weapon. It's a close range weapon, because then he stabs it in the ground and then the thing comes up. So it is definitely a close range weapon. So again, that one skill, so we see, actually, I think we see all of the skills here. So we have, because one skill, the one skill is, like, one of the skills is throwing the spear into the air, right? And, like, crashing down. Okay, that might be, I don't know, the 2 skill, right? Then we have the auto attack chain right there. So that's 1. Okay. So then we have probably that skill right there, the escape skill that pops these 3 little bloody bubbles or whatever they are. That's the 3 skill. Then creating the circular field is probably the 4 skill, and then the 5 skill is doing that. So we have the whole set for the Revenant that's actually being shown here. I don't think they did that on any other profession. I don't think so. So that's very interesting that they showed, like, the whole set here. So you guys, right here, I mean, the Revenant, we don't really have to speculate. We see all the things. The most exciting part here is that field. Having a dark field, even, where we can maybe leap in and out of, and giving us dark aura. I forgot what dark aura does, but I remember it's something decent. It does something good. What happens when you blast a dark field? I don't remember what that does, but anyways, looks really cool. I love the animations. I think the animations, the red and black is really, really cool. So, but I want to say the Elementalist is, like, my favorite. It's really cool. Like, first of all, the transition's really nice. That spear's interesting. Is that a new skin? I don't think I've seen this skin before. It's a very interesting choice for an Elementalist. But anyways, so they get these weird fields under their ground, right? And this is cool to me. I don't, again, we have the same, I could perhaps translate this. I don't know what language that is, so it does not look familiar to me. Alright, sorry guys. So I had to look up some stuff with the languages. So I mean, I don't know why I keep saying sorry, guys, because I'm gonna cut that anyways. But I've been sitting here for, like, the last 10 minutes, kind of figuring this out. So, let's talk about this for a second. So we've had these symbols before, right? We had on the Guardian, we had one that was, like, sun inspired, right? And, like, in the thing they were talking about, I guess, something about the them being inspired by the sun spears or something like that, right? And we kind of figured out some of the stuff. We saw the, like, word spear written out, and I tried to translate some of it, and it seemed to not really work out. So this one is really interesting because this is a different language again. So we're dealing with, like, all these old languages and all these all these symbolisms, right? Because we had another different language on the necromancer ones, right? We had like there was language set there, and then now we have another language. So we're dealing with like three different languages. We're dealing with like sun symbolisms and blah blah blah. What are we dealing with symbolism here? Well, this looks almost like a map of the mists, right? Like if you guys have ever seen the map of the mists, the picture. I'm gonna put up both I'm gonna put up the picture for you guys in the video so you guys can kind of see. So it's this, what I can tell, from what I can tell on these runes, they look like like old Crichton to me. So Old Crichton is this language that was used in Guild Wars 1's time, and it was used on like old signposts and ruins and druid stones and like very old. So even before Guild Wars 1. But then it fell out of favor, apparently. I just kind of read the article. I have it pulled up on the side. But apparently it fell out of favor because it was very hard to... it was very contextual in the way that that you would understand. Like, having one rune by itself, I guess they call them runes. Having one rune by itself could mean one thing, but then having it next to another one could mean something completely different. And it kind of was like very hard, and it fell out of favor to like the new Crichton, which I guess was what they used then, or what we still use. I think the common tongue, I guess they call it. But yeah, this uses, when I look at them, they look almost like modernized versions. And like I said, I'm gonna pull up the picture, and you guys can kind of compare. There's some symbolisms, some symbols that you can see that are being kind of shown here. Like this is kind of shows up. This shows up in the thing. This one shows up in the. So there's a lot, and I don't think there's actually like a translatable thing yet. So maybe we're gonna get more of the old Crichton. It's gonna be very interesting to hear about the code and really hear on, like, you know, why are they so involved with not just the languages but the symbolism and the myths, right? Because we talked about how the sun symbol is like very important because we have the map of the myths and the map of the all, right? This kind of looks like a map of the all as well, right? So because there's a lot of spheres and, you know, connecting like lines and stuff, it's very like a astrological chart kind of thing, right? That's what it looks like. So it's going to be very interesting to see where all of that is coming from. You know, because the Coden are the ones teaching us how to use the spears. So it's gonna be super interesting to really dive into the lowland Coden culture and see like all these things. Because like I said, I can't translate this. I was having issues trying to figure out what the necromancer, what the language was. But I hope that maybe we'll get to learn Old Crichton, or like see more of it, or actually have an alphabet that we can like completely, because the runes that we did get, I don't think fully, like, it wasn't a full alphabet, the ones that we got to see in Guild Wars 1. And Guild Wars 2's wiki page, unfortunately, on languages isn't that in-depth as Guild Wars 1's wiki page. Anyway, so I'm gonna put those pictures for you, probably map of the all, map of the myths, and then the old Crichton picture, and you can kind of look at those and you know, maybe try to figure it out for yourselves. I'm not sure, but anyway, so we get these fields on the ground, which is already super cool. Whether or not these afflict any burning or any like boons on you or anything like that, kind of like we don't know. But what I love is like it's almost like, well, it feels like we're completely replacing the staff at this point, right? Because staff was like the be-all, end-all, like wizard long-range weapon. But it feels like this is kind of like the spear is gonna kind of be taking the spot there, because you first of all have this field that you summon, which is like looks really cool, right? It's like super. I love the contrast, of course, with the green and the red. It's really well done, and it transitioned to blue in a second, to water. Look at that, it's so cool. But yeah, anyway, so it's kind of crazy that this is like, I feel like this is gonna replace. So she summons down this giant explosion. So I think that's going to be, I'm calling it right now. So just so you guys know, so in Guild Wars 1, we had a skill called Firestorm, which we can use in Guild Wars 2. Now that's the glyph spell when you're in the fire element. That's the glyph of storms. If you use that, you summon the Firestorm. But then we also had Meteor Shower, in Guild Wars 1, which is the 5 skill on the fire magic staff in Guild Wars 2, right? So you summon down these giant meteors. But there's one skill, and I just thought about it the other day. I was like, we don't have meteor. Meteor was like just one meteor would come down, and that was in Guild Wars 1. That's probably what this is. This looks to me, because you're sending down a giant rock that explodes when it sends down. So I have a feeling that one of the skills on the spear, and I'm calling it right now, is called Meteor, and there is it. And we're going to read the article in a minute. It's probably going to say, and Meteor is here, or whatever. I love that action shot with her like, yeah! Is that a new animation? Or is that, like, I don't know. I mean, it looks really cool. I love that. I love that. I right now, I'm in love with this. So that looks really cool. What's really strange is that I don't know how they did this. I don't know how they like took a video of this, because you would think, oh, well, it's just slowed down, or it's just a still frame and they kind of like move the camera around or something, right? They kind of like stop the game and move the camera around. But mind you, the symbol still spins around. Look at the symbol underneath. It's still spinning. So that looks really cool. And that's transition right here. So then you get this, you still get the same symbols. This is still the same old Crichton symbol, but the field changes and then it disappears. Looks like there's some chilling going on, because I see the snowflake effect from chilling. And you throw these spears. Look how fast you throw them. And then we see like a pillar of lightning. So in the water we don't see a lot, because she just kind of like throws the spears. There's some kind of freezing going on here, because you can kind of see some. Do you see the ice spikes here? But then she throws the spears really fast. Look at how fast she throws them. Holy crap. And then she changes over to lightning, air magic, and she summons a pillar of air, which really cool animation. Again, really, really cool. Super flashy. Changes to earth, and she gets this really cool. We've seen this, right? We saw this in the animation on the tip of the spear there. We saw that during the trailer, the initial trailer for Janthia Wilds, where the Elementalist throws down the spear in the fire magic, which we didn't get to see here, but it still had that same thing in the front. So I have a feeling, and then she kind of slams it into the ground, and I guess throws out more spears, and we get, again, the symbol on the ground again, and the same animation, where she, like, opens her mouth and she floats into the air. Like, super magic influence, like, really cool. By the way, I also love that they're going to all these different settings. Like, this is Snowdon Drifts. So I love that. It's really cool that they're jumping from, like, location to location. But yeah, so really cool. I'm very excited about the Elementalist. How excited are you guys for the Mesmer, though? I wanna know. Like, I've kind of, like I said before, I've kind of fallen out of favor with the Mesmer, I guess. I don't really play my Mesmer that much anymore. So anyways, sorry, I looked away for a second because I was looking at how long I was recording. So you shadow step, which is really cool, into battle, crash down on the ground. I don't know if that's like the 2 skill or something, but that's clearly an AoE that's gonna hit like 5 people, and you see like these glass spikes shattering out. It's probably gonna inflict bleeding, I'm guessing, or something like that. And then she auto attacks, so it's a close range auto attack. But yeah, and then we get that animation. It looks really cool though. The way that she swings her spear is really cool. Like right here, stabby little motion. She does it like overhead a little bit, doesn't she? Is that what she does? It like a little like overhead. Yeah, so it's really cool. I really love it. And you have a retreat skill here as well, where she dodges backwards. So we get that little swing there, which I think is a different skill. That's not an auto attack skill. This one right here, that's not an auto attack skill right there. I think that's just a skill that she's using because it's. Is it like shattering, or is it like summoning yeah, it's summoning an illusion. And then she dodges backwards, so watch that right there. Dodge backwards. And it does something on the enemy as well. Something seems to explode there. But it seems to be like this is gonna hit multiple enemies as well. I feel like here we get the least amount of stuff. They're very coy about some of these skills, I think, on Mesmer. But it looks really cool. Are you guys excited for like a close range spear on the Mesmer? I think that's pretty good. I think that's a good. I think Mesmer's had like a really good balance in the way that they got the weapons, right? It's because they got like the defensive boon focused shield first, then they ended up getting the axe, which was Condi. It was like a close range slash mid range Condi weapon. Then they ended up getting the long range dagger, and then they got the heal focused rifle, which was like long range. And then now they're getting a close range spear. I feel like they really got like they got a lot of stuff. Like they got a lot of I don't know. I feel like they got like really good, you know, variety of stuff. Anyways, so let's read the article. When Guild Wars 2 Janthia Wilds launches on August 20th, I guess, each of the 9 professions will have access to a new set of spear weapon skills, blah, 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 we already know. In case you missed our previous spear blogs, just so you guys know, I guess I'm going to read this article, because someone commented, and I'm not, I'm not calling anyone out, I'm just saying you were correct, I should have read. I didn't read the first article, and I told you guys that I completely missed that there even was an article about spears, and then I had released a video already, and then the week after that, like last week, we got the other thing, and then someone commented, "Oh man, I wish you would have like I thought you were gonna go back and read the other one." So we're gonna read I'm gonna go through and do the other spear thing again. We're gonna watch the trailer real quick, and I'll just kind of talk about it a little bit too. So we'll kind of do all of it together. So then that way I can have that covered as well. Anyways, blah blah blah. This week, game designers Taylor Brooks, Carl McLean, and Cal Cohen from Guild Wars 2 combat feature team. They're on the combat feature team, are ready to discuss Mesmer, Revenant, and Elementalist respectively. Spears bring clarity to Mesmers. The Mesmers of Janthir look to the beauty of their environment to guide their spear. Through careful study of recursive designs they find in nature, they're able to weave their magic in similar patterns. Each pattern produces a unique effect, giving a spear wielding Mesmer a variety of ways to approach a fight. Okay, so I guess this is the pattern that they're talking about on underneath there. The core of Mesmer spear gameplay is the second weapon skill, Mind the Gap. You'll channel energy into your spear and swing it around in a circle. Yeah, so that is this, actually, I think. This skill is special because you will want to hit enemies with the outer edge of its area of effect. If you correctly position yourself and secure a hit in the right area, you will do more damage and gain clarity. The clarity effect allows you to imbue the next pattern you create with stronger magic, increasing its effectiveness. So I'm gonna be honest, I hate this. I absolutely hate this. I think this is clunky, and this is gonna not. So here's the thing. In theory, on paper, it's an interesting idea, right? So you have, correctly positioning, and you have to position them. Depends on how much the area of the outer ring they're talking about. Are they talking about specifically the line of the outer ring has to be? Or is it like a third of the outside area of the ring? Like, like the outer ring? Or is it just like, like I said, it really depends on that. Because the issue is that I'm seeing here is a DPS drop for the Mesmer, because they can't position themselves correctly. Because when you think about meta events like Eparch, right? And there's like stuff happening everywhere. People are just throwing all their AoEs on the ground, and you don't know what the hitbox of the big enemy is. Because I don't know where the hitbox, like I know there's a circle, but sometimes that's not exactly the hitbox of the enemy. Sometimes you can go further back, sometimes you get closer, right? So it's like, what's gonna count here? Do you see what I'm saying? I feel like there's gonna be a big issue with, like, they're gonna get a huge DPS loss because they can't position themselves correctly. Like, we're talking about, you got to think about the player base as a whole, right? Probably raiders that know exactly how to position things, and then and they know their builds really well and whatever, right? And they've done this, right? Like, people from Snow Crows, like those people, they know probably how to, right off the bat, they're like, I know exactly how to position this and do this right. But you got to think, like, a person that maybe just like is super casual, like they might get a DPS drop. Like they might not do as well because they don't really know how to um get this effect, the clarity, because it says right there you will do more damage and gain clarity. So what happens inside of that circle? Do they not get clarity? So that's a little bit of a, increasing the effectiveness. So it imbues the next pattern to create with stronger magic, increasing effectiveness. The exact effect of clarity will be different for each skill, so you need to plan ahead. So that's not necessarily. I like the idea of clarity, but to be honest, they should just like, I don't know. They should figure out a different way for clarity to be something that you can attain, rather than have it be position based, specifically position based. Like if it's in the general area, I could maybe, like if it's maybe like 300 to 600 range, if you're hitting anywhere in there, that's probably big enough of a gap for someone to like be, but it's going to be interesting to see, because it says the skill is special because you want to hit enemies with the outer edge of its area of effect. So we're going to have to see. I can see perhaps there being an issue. They might have to largen the area or something where that happens, or just say that it's going to happen no matter what when they're in this. But again, we're kind of getting a pattern, right? We're talking about patterns and symbols and things. So we have that as well. There's a lot of that with the spears. Anyways, the fourth skill, Phantasmal Lancer, allows you to dash at your foes, striking them with your spear. As you dash, a phantasm is created at your target location. The phantasm will dash through you, striking your initial target and enemies past it. If you use a Phantasmal Lancer with clarity, instead of summoning a phantasm behind you, you will summon two phantasms at your flanks that dash forward toward the enemy and meet to perform a simultaneous strike. I don't know why I read slash. Interesting. So again, playing around with clarity can really help you get stronger and really get, like I said, it's gonna be tough with clarity. I hope that ArenaNet is prepared to figure out exactly, like I hope they have it figured out where it's not super hard to get clarity, because that might just become an annoying mechanic. Like I'm just like I'm just thinking about, like, everyone is running towards the boss, or there's like a bunch of AoEs happening, like even things like Suwan or something, right? Like when you're like fighting Suwan, right? There's like so much happening on the ground, and you got to be careful like where the hand is, and then you got to constantly swap back and forth and stuff. And then on top of that, you have to make sure that you're positioned correctly so that your patterns give you clarity, so that you can get the most DPS out of it. Like I said, it'll depend on the numbers. It'll depend on like exactly how that functions, but I can see an issue being there. Mesmer Spear is a mobile, high damage weapon with dynamic gameplay. You'll want to focus on your positioning in fights so that you can gain clarity, then choose which ability you want to empower with it. Due to the unique requirement for careful spacing, this weapon might take some getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, you'll find yourself weaving a pattern of victory. So perhaps, right? Perhaps this is true. I could see some issues with, because not all of us are raiding like every day and are really good at doing all of these things that you're supposed to do. So someone might say, well, I'm not going to use a spear on my Mesmer because I suck too bad, right? And that's kind of a shame to have that. But anyways, so we'll have to see. We'll have to look out for that in the because in what, 7 days, we will get our beta. All right, Revenant Spear is a destructive masterpiece and short range. Revenants who first heft their spear in battle often say that it reminds them of creation through destruction. Wielding dark power from the mist, they paint the battlefield through constant pressure and debilitating effects. Let's dive into and talk about it. Let's start with the fifth weapon skill as the primary ability. Abyssal Raise is a ground-targeted skill with 3 charges that strikes up to 5 enemies. You'll gain up to 2 stacks of Crushing Abyss per cast every time the skill strikes a foe, which amplifies the next use of Abyssal Raise. So I'm guessing that's the smashing down into the ground and then the pillar comes out. I'm guessing as a ground-targeted skill. I'm guessing that's what that is, right? And then you get Crushing Abyss. You get 2 of those. which amplifies the next abyssal raise. At 5 stacks, you'll reach the maximum, causing every stroke of the abyss to deliver the most potent effect. With 3 ammunition charges available, let's discuss how you'll refresh ammunition using other spear skills and maintains tremendous pressure on the battlefield while keeping Crushing Abyss active. Okay, I like that. That's an interesting mechanic. That's really cool. So you keep using abyssal rays to get stacks of a Crushing Abyss, and you keep casting it on an enemy, and you gain more. But then, how do you get more charges? Because when you get max Crushing Abyss, you do the most damage, so you want to get more ammunition. The other 4 Revenant Spear skills enable the use of Abyssal Rays by reducing its ammunition cooldown and keeping you and your enemies positioned opportunistically on the battlefield. Your first skill is a hybrid of ranged or alternating melee strikes. Okay, interesting. Hybrid of ranged or alternating melee strikes. How? I don't know how this functions. Is it like flip over, you have one ranged attack and then it flips over to melee strikes and each of them reduces... I don't know. We'll have to see. I find this idea of like hybrid ranged and close range weapons really cool, but I'm trying to figure out like technically, like do you just like, if you're at long range, wait, if you're at long range you just can keep throwing your spear at them, and if you're close range you do melee strikes? That would be really cool. I would love that. Is that how that functions? Is that what I've been missing this on all the other ones? That's how it works. Like if you get a melee range, you get a different animation all of a sudden. The skills change based on how close you are. That's really cool. I just realized this, and I feel really stupid for taking 3 weeks to figure that out. But okay, that's really cool. So I guess the throw that you do where the spear goes up is your auto attack if you're at long range. So that's cool. So I guess there's a long range. There's a long-range weapon thing. But then you have the ground... I mean, I could see it still... Do all the other ones kind of... I guess if it's a ground target for the Abyssal Rays... So it is a hybrid weapon. It's a ranged... You can use it in both. Long range and short range. That's cool. So I was wrong. But that's okay. I like being wrong with something like that. So it is a long range... It's a mix of both. I like when they do hybrid weapons. Your second skill is a bread and butter area of effect attack that reduces your abyssal rays cooldown by nearly a full ammunition count. The third skill reduces. So the second is the area of effect. I guess that's that big field that we saw with the spikes coming out. So that's really cool. So that's your 2 skill actually. And then your third skill reduces by static amount and is a movement ability that leaves mines in your wake, threatening foes. Yeah, so that's the one where he dashes backwards. And the fourth skill, oops, sorry, serves as a delayed area crowd control ability to help you land the most... wait, which one am I missing then there? Because we had... So it changes, so you get closer, you get a close range attack. Then we have the one where he dashes away, that's your 3 skill. That's your 2 skill, and that's your 5 skill. So where's the 1? So I guess so we didn't get to see the whole set. We didn't get to see the whole, so we're missing one skill. This one right here, skill serves as a delayed area crowd control ability to help you land the most optimal damage as enemies attempt to flee your gaze. With all these new spirit abilities coming in hot, we're excited to watch the masterpieces. Happy raising! Okay, so we do get a hybrid weapon. I do like that. Hybrid weapons are great. This is so cool. That's a great shot. That's a really great shot. It looks so cool. Like I said, you know, seeing the what is that called? I said it earlier, but the contrast, that's the word, between the two. Elementalist etching for power. The Elementalist wields a spear as a long-range power damage weapon capable of conjuring. So goodbye, staff. We have forgotten all about you. Goodbye. 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 Because that is it. Like, we're doing a long-range power weapon, and they don't care about staff. They haven't really updated much about the staff, and staff kind of is very clunky to use right now, so we're moving on. Goodbye. Alright, anyways. Capable of conjuring powerful elemental forces, such as volcanoes, whirlpools, and lightning storms. I mean, I love it. A lot of the animations are really, really cool. The spear has a couple of minor defensive tools, but is primarily used on damage and crowd control, leading to a glass cannon style of play that will be more comfortable when you're unleashing spells. So I'm hoping Glass Cannon means that most of the... Because the thing is, with the Elementalist has such a variety of skills that you can't really ever say one weapon is Glass Cannon, because usually, like, it's Glass Cannon when you're in fire, but then you go in water and it's all of a sudden it's a power slash healing hybrid weapon, right? And then you go into Earth and it's a Condi slash defensive hybrid weapon, right? Like most of the time, because you get, like, you know, in Earth you get a lot of defensive skills, things that raise your toughness or reflection or anything like that, but you also get a lot of bleeding from, like, the rocky things that you throw at enemies and stuff like that. You know, lightning is a lot of CC stuff where you use wind to blow your enemy down, or anything, you know, and there's a lot of, like, fury and critical attacks involved in that. So it's interesting to say that, you know, I would say the most glass cannon-y out of all the elements would probably be fire, and maybe, I'm guessing, air as well. But fire is usually just damage, and there's not a lot of, like, healing or defensive or anything like that. So kind of saying, oh, glass cannon, does it mean that all of the elements, like, because they're saying primarily focused on damage and crowd control, does that mean that we're not going to get healing out of the water? Does that mean that all of the water skills will be damage dealing and crowd control skills? Does that mean that we are not getting any defensive things on the Earth? I would be okay with that. I would be totally fine with that. Really go down the, like, rabbit hole of glass cannon and really see how that works out. I don't know. It might be really nice. It might be really nice. It might be really dangerous too, because it's already very hard to play an Elementalist, and if you're taking away, because a big part of the survivability, the sustainability of the Elementalist, it is the squishiest class because it is a light armor class, and it is also the one of the low health classes. So it's one of the squishiest classes, hands down, right? And it's very fidgety to use sometimes because you have to swap between elements in order to gain a lot of sustainability. Now, if we can't do that, if I can't, like, if I'm running low on health and I'm switching over to water, but it doesn't actually do anything for me. Mind you guys, Elementalists can't swap weapons in combat. That means I'm stuck on my spear. That means if all of my spear skills all do damage and crowd control things, and I don't have any defensive tools, a couple of minor defensive tools, meaning that there's only a couple of things in there, that might be very tough to play. That might be very hard, and it's going to be very interesting to see. All right, let's kind of talk about it. Starting things off with the fourth air attunement skill, we have Twister, a ranged ground targeted area of effect skill that, unsurprisingly, creates a twister. So that's what we saw in the video. It was the little, like, that came out, right? That was really, it looked really cool. So I like that. Damages and inflicts vulnerability on enemies in area. Nice. This skill, as well as the fourth weapon skills and other attunements, has an additional effect against enemies that are within a smaller inner radius near the spell's center, rewarding precise placement. I like that. That's really cool. So I like that because I'm one of those people. I use action camera. You guys have seen me play like that. I like playing like that. I cannot play without it. It drives me crazy. I don't know how some people do it, but I need to have my action camera. So with the action camera, I usually have snap to target, which means that for the ground targeting, so ground targeting skills always snap right on the center of the enemy. And there's ways to kind of, like, fidget with it and, like, move it around and, like, change that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but it usually snaps right to the middle. So that would be really nice, because then if I use my ground targeting and then, like, it snaps to the enemy, they will always get the maximum effect, the additional effects on there. So that's really cool. I like that. When Twister strikes enemies near its center, it will also bring those enemies up to float in the air. Oh, that's cool. That's... Sorry, guys. Someone out there honking their horn. A really weird horn. That sounds like an old ass car. Anyways, float in the air. So we have some float. I like it. I think that's very interesting. Next up is Harden, the third Earth attunement skill. This is a personal defensive skill that grants the user barrier and also enhances their next strike from any spear to inflict daze on their enemy. Okay, cool. So you gain barrier, and then you can daze with your next ability. So there's a crowd control that they were talking about. I like it. That sounds really cool, and I love harden. Like, is that like? I mean, harden obviously could be meaning anything, but I'd like to think of like the Pokemon skill harden. The other third slot weapon skills have some similarities. Each is a utility-focused skill that protects or empowers the user and grants a bonus to their next spear skill. All of these skills also have a relatively short casting time, or none at all, which is important for today's final elemental sneak peek. The fifth weapon skill slot contains the most potent skill of each attunement, which, you know, it usually does. Assuming you can fulfill the requirements. Each skill starts off in its base state, a quick cast that etches a spell. Okay, so they start off in the same thing. A quick cast that etches a spell circle into the ground. As an example, the fire skill Etching Volcano creates a spell circle that grants might to the Elementalist. So it's almost like we're getting symbols on. I don't know if it does any enemy effects, but it's almost like a symbol underneath you, and it grants you might. So I'm guessing there's probably maybe regeneration on water, or maybe vigor or something, and then there's probably like maybe protection on. Would be kind of nice to have protection on Earth. Would be nice to have like, you know, protection handily available like that. The skill then flips over into Lesser Volcano, a ground targeted spell that erupts. No, I was wrong. Is that right? So it wasn't meteor, it was volcano? Man, come on. I like had it with the, I thought it's like it came down, but I guess it's a little volcano that comes out of the ground. The skill then flips over, ground targeted spell that erupts to create several damaging strikes. Unlocking the skill's full potential requires the spell circle to be completed before reactivating the skill. To do so, the user must simply use 3 other skills while standing inside the... Oh, okay. So you can't use Lesser Volcano again, I guess? Unlocking the skills requires to be completed before reactivating. To do so, the user must simply use 3 other skills while standing. I'm guessing that's what they mean. I'm guessing like being able to reuse it, you have to. So I'm guessing it's like a long lasting thing on the ground. You have to use at least 3 or 4 skills, right? 3 other skills. No, just using 3 skills. Okay, interesting. The process isn't limited to spear skills, so instant casting abilities skills can be utilized to speed things up. Once the spell circle is completed, the skill flips once more to its final form. Oh, in this case, Volcano, allowing the user to unleash the full potential of the effect. The full power of Volcano erupts for a longer period of time, creating additional damaging areas and inflicting more damage than its lesser version. Other attunements utilize the same etching process, but each has their own flavor. Oh my god, I really like this. This is thought out really well. Oh my god, that is really cool. I love that. I cannot wait to play that. That sounds super fun. That sounds super fun. We'll have to see how the squishiness is, right? Because we only get minor defensive tools, but this sounds really, really fun. This sounds like you can like really play around with it, and using those etchings on the ground and stuff, like that is cool. I really like that. I'm a big fan of that. Oh, we already talked about Mesmer. I was like, did we talk about Mesmer? I guess we did. Yeah, we did talk about Mesmer. Okay, interesting. Cool. All right, so let's talk about yeah, let's read about these. So let's just watch this real quick. I don't want to take too long here to do all of this, but yeah, so let's just watch this. I've already talked about this, right? We talked about the symbols. Yeah, the auto attack there. You get the cool swing with the lettering, and you get the letters here, which this looks really cool. That symbol on the ground looks really, really nice. I like that animation as well. That does look really smooth as well. The animations of the Guardian are really nice. I like those a lot. Necromancer. Necromancer is probably one of my least favorites right now, I want to say. I feel like the spear just doesn't really fit the Necromancer. But it'll be interesting to see how they use the little things. We're going to read about those. Like I said, I just watched the video and I have just like these ideas, these thoughts or whatever. But yeah, so we got that, and oh yeah, and then it was the ranger with the throwing the spear and stuff. So, and then jumping. The jumping is like the coolest one, the coolest animation, I want to say. So there's, and by the way, I didn't point this out, but there's clearly a time jump here because there's a barrier behind that creature, and then when they jump, it's gone. So there's clearly like they took multiple takes of this and kind of cut them together. It's weird that they like let this happen in the background. I don't know, maybe that they did that on purpose. All right, anyways, so let's kind of just go through this real quick. And wow, why is this one so long? Jesus, look at how long that is. Unlike the Coden that settled in the Shiver Peak, so this is our the spears. Guardian spears are quite illuminating. Unlike the Coden that settled in the Shiver Peaks, the Coden of Janthea have long separated from their reverence from Coda. Instead, they've turned to the nature they're surrounded by to guide their relationship with the world, the sun, and all the benefits life seizes from it included. So it's interesting that they talk about the sun. I talked about the sun symbol and stuff like that. That they had. There's a lot of sun symbolism, so I guess that's why we're seeing a lot of that. But we do have another species of creatures on Tyria that worships the sun. Remember, the High Lake are sun worshippers, and they believe that what's is it Itzel? Who's the sun god that they have? They have this weird sun god. I think it's Itzel. And they worship, which is weird because the Itzel in the jungle kind of, they worship Amayala or whatever her name was, and she's like the nature goddess or whatever that they have. This weird, it's a different belief system. And I could be wrong on the god of the sun, but they have the sun god, the High Lake. So it's interesting to maybe see some parallels or maybe some connections there. Maybe we're gonna see some High Lake that are like getting taught by the Coden or something. Maybe that's where it originated from. Maybe that's where the belief system came from. The early on High Lake maybe came across the Coden at some point, and the Coden tried to teach them about the sun, and then eventually the High Lake went out to the world, and they, that's kind of stuck with them. I don't know. Certain that's spear bears look to the sun to channel inspiration in battle, aiding their allies and illuminating a path forward. Guardians have learned from these Coden and wield their spears in a similar manner, focusing on supporting allies and debilitating enemies. While some of these skills can be used to provide support at a safe distance, their true potential is realized on the front lines when the Guardian is fighting alongside the allies. By fulfilling specific conditions, certain spear skills can cause the following spear attack to be illuminated, which makes them stronger. So we see this. There's a lot of trends where there's a lot of chaining things together, right? That's like the biggest theme of all the spears. It's always like use one skill of the spear set to empower another one, or use it in a specific way to empower something else, right? Like that's kind of, that's a theme that's throughout all of these, right? There's always some kind of mechanic where if you do something the right way, if you use a skill a certain way, or you do something with it, then you empower another skill, right? And then it's kind of like all the skills build off of each other, which is really nice. I like that. While you can empower one skill at any time, those skills can in turn grant the illuminated status to your next skill, allowing the Guardians, so you can chain them together, which is really nice, with precise positioning. Let's take a look at them. The second skill, Helio Rush, causes the Guardian to charge forward in the direction they're aiming, dealing damage to enemies and healing allies that they pass through. Striking an enemy during the rush causes the next spear's attack to be illuminated. Okay, cool. The illuminated version of Helio Rush increases the healing and additionally grants them resolution. Thus, the skill is best used in the thick of the fray when you're able to go through both allies and enemies at once. Really cool. I love that. I want to see Helio Rush really in action. Like really see like me rushing through and healing people like in the last second, like they're about to be done, and I'm illuminating Helio Rush and I'm using it and I'm healing. Like that is super satisfying, right? And you like maybe like hit enemies on the way. It's gonna be interesting to see if it's gonna be like, is the spear gonna be a potential healing weapon, like a supporty weapon on the Guardian, where we can say, okay, well maybe don't use staff anymore or whatever as like a healing weapon, but now like the spear is the go-to. I don't know, but guardian weapons are incomplete without a symbol of some sort, and the spear is no exception. The fifth skill, Symbol of Luminance, knocks enemies back as you cast it. The symbol poses resistance to allies who don't have it already, and weakness to enemies. Symbol of Luminance is unique in that, unlike other spears, it does not have any way to grant the illuminated effect, but for good reason. While standing within the symbol, any spear attacks you perform are automatically illuminated, regardless of whether you're currently in the cursed state. With the illuminated version of the skill, this property applies even if you leave the symbol and lasts for as long. Wait, with the illuminated version of the skill, I thought there was no illuminated version. Wait, what? Symbol of Luminance is unique in that, unlike other spear skills, it does not have a way to grant the illuminated effect. Oh, okay, it can be illuminated, but it doesn't grant the effect. But it does. The wording here is so weird. Why would they put that? The symbol is unique because it does not have any way, it does not have a way to grant the illuminated effect, but it does grant it automatically. What? Am I not understanding that while you can empower allies, those skills can in turn grant you limit one skill at a time. Those skills can in turn grant limited status to your next skill, allowing them to chain multiple limited skills together. It's so weird. It's like, okay, it can't grant it, but it can. Weird. Anyways, while standing in symbol automatically with the limited probably applies if you leave and lasts for as long as the symbol does, including the additional duration granted by writ of persistence, an existing guardian trait. Cool. All right. So I think, yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how much really of that you can use um as like a healing weapon, defensive, supporty type. And it's going to be interesting. I want to see how the Helio Rush, what kind of animation they used for that as well. It's going to be kind of cool to see. Um, but yeah, I like it. It's really cool. So now Ghost Stealth. This is much shorter. Spear wielding rangers excel at hunting their prey. They whittle down their quarry down at range, and then they finish them off with a surprise attack at melee range. Ranger's spear features a new type of auto attack that some of the other spears will utilize. When at range, you'll throw the spear at your target, but when you move closer. So that is probably what we saw with the Revenant. So I must excuse myself and say, ArenaNet, we need a long range weapon. Apparently we have one. We can utilize it for both, which is nice, actually, that I think about it now. It'd be nice if they could retroactively go back and change some of the weapons to do the same thing. It would be kind of nice to have that. Because it's options. Like, it's like you have like a set already in your set. You know what I mean? Because you get like long range and short range. Like, I always keep a long range weapon on my warrior because I use dual daggers. So it's like, I use a bow, but like maybe I don't need that, right? Because it's like already built into my thing. It's kind of nice. Okay. Well, you transition into a using a melee chain. This bimodal model will help you always keep up pressure, which is nice. Rangers learn from the animals of Janthea to deftly wield their spear. Using Mongoose's frenzy, they'll slash their spear in front of them as they were. So I guess the mongoose is the slash. So is that the thing that we see? Is that a mongoose? I don't know what a mongoose is, but I don't know. I know that it's an animal. I just don't know what it looks like. So, is that the jump ability? Falcon's Stoop throws a spear with the velocity of a raptor. Panther's Prowl will kick up nearby brush, stealthing the ranger and their pet. Oh, that's what we see in the thing where she stealths herself. Is a little panther that pops up, and that's when the fun begins. Ranger Spear features a new type of stealth attack. Unlike a thief, stealthing upgrades Ranger Spears 2 through 5 into new versions that share a cooldown with their base skill. Mongoose's Frenzy flips into Wolf's Onslaught. You swipe your enemies as before and then follow up, or maybe that's what we saw, a wolf come out. I think it's a wolf that came out. It wasn't a panther. But anyways, you swipe your spear as before and then follow up with a jab. With the same force as the bite from wolf's gnashing fangs. Falcon's stoop becomes owl's flight. Oh, I always love when there's owl stuff, guys. Super launching an owl spear that is wider and unblockable. Oh, yes, that's so cool. So I'm gonna have to get that. I don't know if you guys, I'm gonna have to have the spear on my, on recently I got my I'm planning on having one character for each festival. So my Dragon Bash character is an owl themed Norn. And he's a ranger who has a pet owl, and he uses the like call owl skill, and he's very like owl themed, right? So having this, I'm gonna have to get the spear for him. Super exciting, love it. Weaving in and out of melee range, rangers will use their spear to chip away, and we get more. By the way, we get different stealth skills, which that's really cool. I do like that. It's like a twist on ambush skills. So it's going to be interesting to see how much they really can use the Panther's Prowl. Like, is it going to be just like is it going to be on a 20-second recharge, or is it going to be like a really short recharge so we can constantly stealth ourselves and then use these new abilities? We're going to have to see how that works. I'm not quite sure. Weaving in and out of melee range, users will chip away at their prey before they go into stealth to finish the kill. Their unique stealth attacks will allow them to decide how they want to tactically approach any scenario. I'm not super excited about this altogether. I'm also not huge on of a ranger player myself, but this looks to be like a little clunky. There's a little clunkiness in my eyes, depending on how well you can keep the stealth up, because they don't have. The thing is, if rangers had access to stealth, I don't think they have. Do we get access to stealth through like any of the utility skills? I don't think we do. You see what I'm saying? So it's like kind of like we would have to rely on just one skill on our set to use these new stealth attacks that we have. Might be a little iffy, but I mean, if it's executed well, it could be really cool. Where you kind of like weave in and out of like different things that you're doing, like stealth and not stealth, and then you get different skills depending on that. That would be kind of cool. So we'll have to see how that works out too. Get up close with the Necromancer Spear. Now let's take a look at some aspects of the Necromancer Spear. The spear is a melee power damage weapon that also brings some disruptive elements, a bit of mobility, and some strong burst potential through cooldown resets. Many of the spear skills create soul shards, so that's what we see flying around there, is the soul shards. I called them like fingers in my original video. Life-stealing objects that behave similarly to the thief's venoms, but they will only be consumed by strikes from the spear's second skill. This allows them to be consistently built up to a maximum of 6 to reach a singular moment of power instead of being immediately consumed by the next strike. These shards deal increased damage against low health enemies and grant increased healing while your health is low, giving more opportunities. These shards deal increased damage to enemies against low health enemies, okay, and grant increased healing while your health is low. So that's really cool. So using different ability again. You have different things building up different things on the spear. So using certain spear abilities on the Necromancer gives you these little shards, and then you can use your 2 ability to consume all of those shards all at once, however many you have, up to 6, right? And you want to kind of build up to 6 because that's when you get the most effect, right? Because then you get 6 times doing extra damage, especially against low enemies. So it's like super bursty at that point where you like just they're at low health, like whatever, 20%, 25% or whatever, and you can just like knock out the rest of that by using the 2 skill, which is probably the like many stabs, like where they kind of channel the spear to like stab. We saw that in the video. So that's probably what the 2 skill is, right? Well, they actually explain it right here. Or the ability. These give more opportunities for powerful execution sequences for the ability to sustain when nearing death yourself. As mentioned above, soul shards will be consumed by Perforate, skill 2 on the spear. Perforate is a multi-hit attack that strikes enemies 7 times, enough to consume 7. I think they did that on purpose because there's 7 Reapers of Grenth. Maybe there's a reference to that. I don't know. Because they could have done like any number. Because they could have done 6 because you build up 6 of the soul shards, but they chose 7. So I don't know, maybe there's a reference to that. Enough to consume all active soul shards. Perforate also deals increased damage against low health enemies, which combined with the low health bonus damage of soul shards makes it a potent skill. Yeah, so you do extra damage against low health enemies, Perforate does. But then the soul shards themselves also do extra damage to low health. So it's really like low at health is not good. Like this will be interesting to see how this functions in PvP because I feel like that could be very interesting. I'm not a PvP player, but I feel like it just kind of, and I never talk about PvP, but it just like jumped out at me where I'm like, man, what if like you catch someone that's like right at low health and you just like have 6 of those soul shards and you use perforate on them and you use up all of those soul shards and you just like crush the enemy. That'd be interesting to see, right? In order to get full value out of perforate, you will need to generate some soul shards first. So let's take a look at other skills. Skill 4 is Isolate, the singular long-range skill on the spear that serves as a gap closer. This skill throws a spear at the enemy, inflicting chill and vulnerability, and on successful striking a target, it flips into the follow-up skill Distress. Activating the follow-up skill will teleport the Necromancer to the target struck by the initial spear and generate soul shards. Additional soul shards are generated if the enemy does not have any nearby allies of their own. So this, again, PvP, right? You're like doing one-on-one, and you know the enemy is kind of at low health, let's say like half health or something, and they're like trying to run away. So you throw the spear. You do, what is the attack called? The Isolate. You use Isolate on them, and then you hit them and use Distress to teleport to them, generating some shards, and you get extra shards because they don't have anyone nearby them, right? Um, yeah, and so this is great to pick off lone enemy targets. Teleporting to enemy will also fully recharge Perforate, and then you can use Perforate to yeah, so there's a chain. There's really something like thought that went into it, right? So you can use Isolate, Distress to teleport to them, generate shards, then generate extra shards if they're low health, then use Perforate, and so you'll be able to, yeah, and you can consume the soul shards that you just generated. Will recharge itself when exiting Death Shroud, giving access to a lot of potentially powerful sequences. Skills 3 and 5 also generate shards, but we'll talk about those a bit more at a later date. All right, so cool. I'm excited. So if I think about all the different ones that we've had, all the different all the different skills, right? All 9 professions, which one do I like the most? So I think engineer is pretty cool. I don't play engineer. Thief, I like I said, it'll be really fun to see how like the 2-3-2-3, whatever, kind of works out. Warrior is simple, but I like that. It's very simple, but it's very like, yes, it's very like, I just want to throw a spear at an enemy, a long range power weapon. Like I like that, right? So that's really cool. The Guardian's definitely up there. I want to say the Guardian is definitely up there because it's going to be interesting to see. I love the long ride up too. That's probably the longest one out of all of them. This is one that's also really long actually. The Necromancer sounds interesting, but I don't know, somehow it doesn't resonate with me, where I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait to use that. I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, okay, it's there, Same with the Ranger, kind of thing. I think my favorite is the Elementalist. I'm honestly kind of excited to have the Elementalist. I think so. It's probably Elementalist, and then it goes to, but Revenant too. Revenant is going to be interesting to see how that works out with the like long range, close range kind of thing, and then using the ammunition on the Crushing Abyss with the Abyssal Rays. I don't know, guys. It's so tough. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to really. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I just there it is, guys. I've kind of read through all of the things. I've kind of told you guys exactly. Yeah. What are you guys? What's something? What's the most that you're hyped about? What's the one that you're disappointed? Let me know. Like if there's something that really disappoints you, let me know down below. I'm sure there's gonna be a couple that a couple of people that I know are gonna have some words, I think. But yeah, I think that those pretty much those three are probably my most favorite. Well, Guardian also. Revenant depends on how it works. I don't quite like it, it'll have to really I'll really have to see how this works cuz if I can here's the thing, if I can use it as solely a long-range weapon and be effective with it, I will be happy. And it will probably be something that I'll be using and I'll be happy with it. And it's probably going to be my top three. But if it's kind of clunky and you rather want to use it close range because it works out better that way, then that's going to kind of fall out. And I think Guardian will take that place then. But again, it kind of depends between those two. It depends on how they work because they're very intricate classes, both of them, and it's gonna be interesting because Warrior is so simple, right? Warrior is just like rah, right? It kind of does what a warrior does, right? So Warrior to me is just like, yeah, it's cool, it's simple, it's easy. I like that. Okay, that's the kind of person that I am. I'm a super easy, simple guy. I love that kind of stuff, right? But with the other ones are more intricate and more interesting, and there's a lot more going on. So but definitely I think the biggest winner for me overall has to be Elementalist. I'm very excited to see how this works out, how that is the one that I'm like, yeah, I want to try that out. So I'm very excited. The whole language thing is very interesting to me. The whole symbolism is very interesting. So, but anyways, I've been talking you guys' ear off for way too long. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are excited. Just so you guys know, this upcoming Sunday, we're starting our playthrough of Nightfall. We're going to be playing a Paragon. So if you guys have never played Guild Wars 1, or Guild Wars 1 Nightfall, or Paragons in Guild Wars Nightfall specifically, and you guys, Paragon has been thrown around so much because of the spear recently. A lot of people have been talking about it. And so if you guys are interested in finding out about the Paragon and why it's so cool and why it's so unique and whatever, right? You guys can tune in for that. Kind of watch the playthrough of Nightfall as we go to defeat the God of Secrets, Abaddon, Water and Secrets. And yeah, and like I said, I am still editing my other video. I'm out of time for today to edit, but it is slowly, I'm crawling along with it. So a dual class video will be coming out in the near future. I don't know exactly when. But yeah, anyways, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, I would really, 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 really appreciate it. We're trying to grow the channel and we've been doing a great job. Memberships are available. We have some really cute emojis, and I talked about doing some member specific things. So I might be doing I was thinking the other day about like doing bloopers of my recordings, because you guys, the stuff that I record sometimes where I'm like, what did I just say? And I crack myself up laughing. I don't know if people are interested in that, but I might do that, right? I might have that. So if you guys are interested in becoming members to support the channel, I would really appreciate that as well. Yeah, and other than that, I will see you guys on, well, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, because we might get something tomorrow. No, what is today? Oh my god, no, today's Thursday. Oh my god, I don't think we're getting any info. So that's pretty much it for this week, I think. They're not going to give us anything else. So it sounds like next week, we're probably going to get some info. I was hoping we were going to get something else this week, but we didn't really. So hopefully we're going to get some about the Coden, the Warclaw, the raids, the housing. Those are the four things that I'm kind of looking forward to. Kind of seeing, I'm sure they're going to do blog posts about those, and maybe about the maps or something. Maybe they're going to talk some more about maps. Anyways, that'll be enough of that. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.